Hello, hello. This is a special edition of 26 Minutes with. It's I want to introduce you to an associate host that's joining the fold and the family. And it's Cathy Nesbitt. And Cathy, you'll see, is quite a remarkable woman. She's always on the forefront of change and healing and in healing the planet. She's an entrepreneur. She's an award-winning entrepreneur, having won awards for her business called Cathy's Creepy Crawlers. And we'll get into that momentarily. And then, Cathy's also a student of life and of healing, and has taken various training in various modalities, but fell into laughter yoga. And at first you kind of going, laughter yoga, what the heck's that? And it's not traditional yoga. You're not doing the downward dog, but you're doing breath work and exercises to help you laugh. And when you laugh and you're doing breath work, that revitalizes you and it heals you on so many levels. And so about maybe 4 weeks ago, I approached Cathy about the notion of being an associate host and hosting one of the interviews, at least, once a month or once every 5 weeks. And she needed to think about it. And she came back and said, I think I'm open. So Cathy, as you know, 26 Minutes with is really about leadership, and it's about honoring those who are making a difference and making and having the courage to bring forth positive change onto the planet. And it could mean that we fly in the face of conventional wisdom and the narratives that are out there, because we do, one of my missions is to seek truth and to empower people to lead and also make a difference, but also to empower people to question. What was it that attracted you to the possibility of being an associate host?
Yeah, so I've been, thank you, David. I'm excited to actually be a part of this. Since 2020, I've taken a trip around the world by podcast, being a guest myself
Yes.
on
How many?
over 200 now, over 200. Yeah. So, and I'm having such a good time telling my story. When you asked me, I was thinking I didn't really want to take on the responsibility of doing that. Then you kind of alleviated my fears, I guess, and said that you would be helping with to do it as well. So I thought, it would be a great opportunity. I know I'm capable. I might have had that initial fear of, oh, what if I can't do it? Or, that thing that creeps in your head. I might have had that. So I said, I'm going to just think about it. And when I got off our call and I was talking to Rick, my husband, about it, he said, like, why don't you do it? You're like, what have you got to lose to try it? And I thought, I obviously I know I can do it. I know I can do it. So I thought it'll be a new experience for me. So that's what I thought. And I've, during this time, I've met such cool people, such amazing leaders, working with youth, working with women, working with all different demographics. And I thought, I would love to highlight some of those people that I've met.
Yeah, and then that's it. That's what I feel too, Cathy. Like, I just launched this new version of this podcast, 26 Minutes with, back at the end of March. And I'm meeting such great people doing really amazing things. And I'm really inspired by them, like this week's guest coming up, who I interviewed on Friday, is from the US, Maryland area. And he had a challenging youth. He joined the Army and everything, got injured, but persevered. and now but as a young man and and getting older, because he was still in his teens when he joined the army, he had a dark night of the soul experience, and you don't expect that from a sort of tough army veteran, yet he was very in touch with his, that side of him. Anyway, he had a dark night of the soul because his whole life was right in front of him, and he had a really bad addiction to gaming, like video games, and he was spending a fortune unbeknownst to his wife. Right, and she found out, and he checked himself into a hotel one night and just had to come clean with her, and it totally transformed his life, and now he's actually coaching other people, to be, to live their big dreams. So it's like you find stories of these, regular people like you and I, who are doing incredible things, or have gone through amazing breakthroughs and challenges, and are now coming out the other side and sharing their story. So, as challenging as these past 3 years have been, there have been many miracles happening. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, I feel like we've really come together, around the world, people that are like-minded. And it took, I think, the world shutting down, which forced us all to go online. We all have pivoted online, and we're connecting on a deeper level. I feel, I've met people that I never would have had or may not have had the opportunity to meet,
Yes.
if it wasn't for this time.
Yeah. And here we just met a woman, you and I both, Sanit from South Africa. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have met her, or been able to engage with her had it not been for technology, right? And these kind of calls. So what speaks to you about leadership and people having the courage to make an impact?
It is courage. It is courage. David, it's easy to stay, not easy, but it's easier to stay in your, what they say, comfort zone, in your box, and what the devil, and all those things. It doesn't make for a great life. It really doesn't. It just makes for and I'm going to say it's safe in air quotes, because we don't know what's going to happen that's going to shut down the world or whatever, right? We don't know what's coming. And I think 2020 and the past 3 years have been a great example of do it now, because we never know. We don't know what's going to happen. So leadership for me is anyone. I admire people that just are ordinary people and they are taking on extraordinary feats.
Yeah. And I think that's the rub, I think we put like athletes and, Hollywood stars on pedestals that maybe they shouldn't be on, let's have respect, always have respect for somebody, but don't, I think we go over the top, and yet it's the person next door, or, somebody you meet in your networking group or whatever, that, sort of, wow, you do that, you did that, or you're doing that stands out. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, there's great Hollywood people and celebrities and sports figures doing great work too.
Yes.
Of course. It's just that we're always comparing. It feels like, and with social media, it feels like we're often looking outside rather than looking within, and we're like, what do I really want? I might be looking at what you have and it's great. I'm happy for you. What you have is not what I want.
Yes.
But social media kind of makes it seem like, oh, I want that too. Where we have the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out, and
yeah,
and so I really think that the secret to all of this is going within and asking ourselves, what is it that I want? How do I want to serve? What difference do I want to make? And it doesn't have to be any grand gesture. It can be just checking in on your neighbor who's living alone, and you haven't seen them for a bit. Maybe go and check and make sure they're okay.
Yeah, and you're right, and you know, there's in leadership, you know, leadership. My sort of definition of leadership is a leader sort of empowers the team and people around them to shine and to make a difference, you know, and to me that's what it's about. It's not about, you know, it's like it's servant leadership, which is the leader is there to serve rather than a master leader, which is about motivating with fear or retribution, or if you don't do this, this is going to happen. It's not working anymore, that
Mm.
old style. What have you, you know, what kind of leadership do you sort of gravitate towards, or do you, do you know, what kind of leadership qualities do you embrace? Because you're out there, you're doing your thing, you're making impact with so many people, especially with the work around laughter yoga. What kind of leader do you aspire to be?
I am the type of leader who raises people up. I want everybody to come up rather than bringing people down so I can seem like I'm better. You know, rather than me being on a pedestal and, oh, here I am preaching, I want to come down to the crowd and just be amongst everybody and, you know, help people that way. Like just we're all in this together. We literally are. So my goal or my role is to help people see their greatness.
Yes, and I'm so with you on that. You know, and part of my new business initiatives is to focus on youth entrepreneurs, 19 to 35, and it's really about lifting them up and giving them, like, you know, giving them the confidence to succeed at their gift, at their the thing they want to birth and bring to the world and to their market, you know. So you're very similar in that sense, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't follow that top down model. Like
Mm.
I kind of go with the line model where we're all here, we are all moving the line forward together rather than, you know, putting one person on top of another. Like it's like, let's all just come together. The kind of the thing of no one left behind. Almost like that, where you're just helping, like, what do you need? Because we're all here and we all have these amazing gifts. We just need to take time to unwrap them, to look inside and see what is it that I have, because we all have things. And sometimes that, you know, you've probably heard the expression, your mess is your message.
Yes.
Sometimes, right, sometimes when we experience something that is traumatic at the time, once we come out of that and we're able to look at it at a different perspective, then that can give us some fuel so we can be like, oh, I'm sure other people have experienced this too. Why don't I help them so they don't need to go as low as I did?
Yeah. Yes. Totally. Um, you know, in terms of the podcast, what can our listeners expect from Cathy Nesbitt? What's the
uh
match
yeah,
you're
I'm
gonna do?
looking to bring some really cool, maybe less known or less familiar people to the podcast who are doing really amazing things, helping entrepreneurs. I mean, one woman I'm looking to get on the podcast is Rachel Perron. She's the founder of Kids Right to Know, started at age 15. She's probably 25 now, I'm not sure. Old lady now, no. You know, just and still doing her great work, and she hasn't wavered from her message. That I want to bring people that people can be inspired by, that they can look at and say, wow, look at her go, or look at him go, look at what they're doing. I could do that, or I could do something similar.
Yeah, and I think you just hit the nail on the head too. It's about inspiration. One thing, you know, in my consuming of content over the past 3 years or plus, there's been a lot of negative news or negative stories, or, you know, a lot of fear, and it's like I get tired of that. I get personally worn down. I don't know if I think you do too. We've had talks about this, but I want to bring something different to the audience to engage them, and that's to, you know what, come listen for 26 minutes. We also have the deeper dive version, if they want a little more, but come and listen and just be inspired for 26 minutes. And that's the goal, my goal, and it's your goal as well, and that's to inspire other people, and our listeners and our audience, and to build on that, and to build inspiration and positivity rather than negative stories and negativity, and I feel that's when you can when you and I have the power through this podcast to light a spark in someone else, and even if it's one listener, one person, then I think we've served well.
Absolutely. We know we've talked about this. Everything is energy. So when we're and our I believe our brain is wired for negative because then it can keep us safe so that we can be aware of any potential dangers. The challenge is that there's so much negative that our mind gravitates onto that. And then, it just starts spiraling down like, oh, this, oh, what if that. And then all of a sudden we're in hell. Instead of that, I think what we're hoping to do with this podcast is spin it around. Like, let's spiral up instead.
Yeah,
Let's raise up. It's energy. So if we're up here, we're not down there.
exactly. And it's so important. And if more of us are doing this and more of us are raising other people up, it's like, I think societally and especially politically, they've been doing a really good job at tearing it down. And some of it has to come down. However, there's so much good in the world and so much possibility. Let's start stepping into our greatness. Like not just you and I as hosts or interviewers, but just everybody. Let's step into our greatness. Let's not accept, you know, you know, let's not just accept what is, and let's like question and go, well, what can be? What can be better? What's your take on that? Like,
Yeah, what's possible?
yeah,
Oh, David, I love it because I think our society is so geared to working and striving and comparing and getting more and working harder. And I think it's not just about working smarter, it's about playing more. It's that we like play isn't anywhere in the playbook. It's all about work, and people brag about working 18, 19, 12, what are 14 hours a day, and it's just I don't think that's a badge of honor. I think that's not really a life. Fear keeps us in fear keeps us where we are. Fear holds us in place because when we're in fear, we're in stress, we're not able really to move forward because we're held back by this, like, oh, what if we just jump into possibilities and say, like, I don't know, the thing about failing a bunch of times, and they're all learning like they're just learning things. Oh, okay, that didn't work, let me try it, let me tweak it and try this way, let me try this way. It's all part of the journey. It's not failing, it's just learning.
yeah. And you're right. I like what you said about, working long and hard and crushing your goals, and those days are gone. I mean, yeah, have your goals and work towards it, but also bring in a little bit of balance. I have a neighbor that lives just up from me, and he's a landscaper. He does landscaping. It's not his own business. He works for somebody, and he's proud of the fact that he's working these long days. It's like, dude, what about a life, like relationships and connection and learning maybe something new, a new skill, or no, he's happy. So and if you look deeper at that, well, okay, he's happy, so that's good. However, is he living fully? Is he afraid to step out of his normal routine? and risk um, and hide behind the work from actually maybe being vulnerable or exposing himself to perhaps something new. These things are kind of the topics too that we'll address on 26 Minutes with.
Right? Because when we're busy, then we can say oh no, I'm too busy for that play thing, for that introspection. There's no time for that. I'm too busy. I'm busy.
Yeah.
And right, it's all about being busy, like the optics of being busy. When we're busy, well, there's no time for new things.
Yeah, no time for um uh like in a relationship, when you're intimacy, there's no time for intimacy, there's no time for deeper connection, right?
We're like talking about working and our society. We have a lot of expressions when people are not working. Like, look at that lazy person. Oh, what are they doing just sitting around? Like, well, maybe they're just meditating. We don't know. We don't know what they're doing. And what if they're not always, working? I mean, it's just, that has struck me especially in the last year. I think it really has come to my mind that we focus so much on work, and yes, we need to work and we need money and all of these things, but I don't think it's the be all and end all. I don't think that having all of this stuff is making us happy, right? The more stuff you have, the more you're stressed about taking care of your stuff.
Quote George Carlin, who did a beautiful comedy bit on that. Or now, in your work in laughter yoga, you and I have spoken on other podcasts or interviews that we've done. It's really about serving others, and so I see you taking elements of your work with laughter yoga, especially like making a difference. Like, just share for those that don't know what laughter yoga is. Just share for a quick sec about what it is. And
Yeah, laughter yoga is not about doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing for the health of it. Laughter is the best medicine. We've heard it before. When we're laughing, we're secreting the happy chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins versus cortisol and adrenaline. So it literally lifts us out of fear, stress, anxiety, at least for the moment. It brings us to the present, and it oxygenates our beautiful body. There are so many beautiful, wonderful benefits. It connects us. Um, Laughter's changed my life. And yes, you're right. My goal now is just to help people, because when I help you and raise you up, it raises us both up. And I get raised up because I'm laughing. So I'm doing my laughter and you're laughing. We're laughing together. So it's like that expression, if you light a candle, the darkness goes away. If you light another candle, it gets brighter, but it doesn't, not that it doesn't add it. Of course, it absolutely does, but you just need one candle. Same with the laughter. When we laugh, it changes the energy. When two people laugh, it just makes it, raises the vibration even more.
yeah, and for those listening and to us today, you don't know us as what we do during the day. That's one of your big parts of your life, your work life, and your business life. And for those that don't know me, I do, we've been working with entrepreneurs as a coach and facilitator and an author, and a former radio show host. We've had radio shows for small business. But I want to actually talk to you about an experience you shared in a discussion we've had in the past. And with laughter yoga, you've taken it to a school. You're not doing it anymore just because the school sort of had a bit of a shift, but it was a school and it was helping kids and youth with special needs. And there was one young gentleman who acted out, and you, instead of chastising him or calling him out, you actually empowered him to get involved, and then he became your co-facilitator. Can you share that? Because to me, that's the magic of what the show is about. You know, about making that difference of telling stories that are just like they're magical. Do you want to share that? Because that.
Thank you. I would love it. Yeah. So it is it's young adults that are finished in school, so 21 and over, with a variety of special needs. And this young man was, because they're young adults, he was always on his cell phone. And I didn't think it was my role to change that because he's an adult. And one of the staff said to me, you know, I asked him to not be on his cell phone during laughter out of respect for our guest. And so I said, oh, that's interesting. Now, the next time we were meeting, we were online. And so there I was coming from the big screen. And I asked him, he was sitting front and center. And I asked him, hey, would you mind not being on your cell phone just for this one time? Just try it, like just see how it is. I know it's silly laughing for nothing, but let's see. And he played full on. The next time we were in person, we do a thing called the name game. And I said, who wants to start? And he jumped up. Not only did what was he the first one, he stayed beside me the whole time. And I said to him, hey, would you like to be my assistant? And he was so proud, like a peacock. He was so happy. And I noticed when he was my assistant, when every time he was my assistant, the others would play more full on because they could see themselves in a leader role. There he was the leader, and they were following him because he was the cool kid. Who doesn't want to be like the cool kid? Everybody does. So thank you for allowing me to share that. That was really powerful time. And I realized the power of empowering people.
Yeah, and you also have a bit of a passion, or you really like and enjoy working with you know kids as well, youth who have had developmental challenges and mental health issues. What is it about that sort of, now you work with organizations and other people as well, but that to me, just in knowing you, really speaks to you. Why is that?
I think I see myself. People see me as outgoing and confident and all that. It took work to get here.
It still does.
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
Um, so one of my challenges early on was I realized that I just liked being in new environments where I was alone. There was a lot of people, but I'd be alone in the crowd. And although I'm outgoing and I'm easy, I talk easy, sometimes it's not always that easy. I had an opportunity to go to PEI
Mm,
to do
for lobster.
what's that?
For lobster.
It was for the CAF conference, Canadian Association of Fairs and Exhibitions. I was
Mm.
like, these are the fun people. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. Yeah, not so much.
Oh.
So what happened was, it's an annual event. So just like those annual events, people come from around the country. You get to see your friends that you only get to see once a year. So even though I was speaking at the event, nobody invited me to come for dinner. Nobody invited me to participate. So I was in my hotel room. I could hear everyone having fun, laughing and partying. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, what about me? And I realized for some reason, David, at that very moment, I realized, wow, this is one night. So what, I'll have a good sleep. No big deal, right? And at that moment, I thought, what about if you have special needs? What about if you're a little bit different and you've spent your whole life looking outside going, what about me? Look at them all having fun.
Mhm.
What about me? And I realized, so I'm the one now, after that experience, I'm the one, if I see somebody on their own in a group, I'm going to go to that person. I'm going to go and like just engage that person. And because I realize that people are just uncomfortable. People are like, look at them, they're so standoffish. No, maybe they're just really freaking uncomfortable. Maybe they have no idea what to do. Like, how do I get in there? What do I do? So they stand and they're paralyzed. And it's so amazing when you go and engage someone, and it feels so good being on the receiver of that. I've been on the end where someone's come over and said, hey, I see you on your own, come on over and meet this people over here, and they bring you into the fold. It just feels good. We want to belong. So that's, I think, is one of my gifts. Is now I really am mindful, and I'm very aware when I see people on their own.
But also you bring a sense of empathy too to the
Yeah.
your work, and I know you'll bring it to the interviews and to this, to the podcast,
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm a feeler. I definitely feel everything, and I think it's a gift again. I think being an empath and feeling other people's um, emotions or pain or happiness, whatever, feeling everything, you feel it all. It is a gift. Now you need to have tools. So, as an empath, you don't understand as a child. I recently heard that all the children born in the 2000s are empaths as well,
Wow.
because we need people to care. We need people to feel, because when we feel, that's when we have to do something. Because when we're feeling uncomfortable, we got to get out of that. We got to get out of there.
Right.
Right.
I've
So
been finding like a nap is sometimes necessary just to have space, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why, you need to spend time alone as an empath, because you get overwhelmed by that's, and as an empath, and there's a lot of people that are empaths. There's, like, most entrepreneurs are empaths, by the way, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I, I
um,
I agree with that. And I find
no,
like my journeys working with entrepreneurs all these years, and especially startups, there's a real spiritual part to them too.
right? Because we see something that other people can't see, a solution to a problem
Yeah.
or a better way to do something. And then we just go forth and we do it because we know, wow, this is going to be good for me, good for the planet, or whatever, good for people. And yeah, I think, and when you feel it, I think as our society is kind of shifting from, the master to being more
Servant leadership and more about the inner rather than the exterior. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. So as we are coming into that, I think that these skills are going to help us where we are coming together, where we're feeling each other. We need to get rid of the trauma that's in our body. Because when we're young, we go, oh, something happens. It gets in our body. If we don't get rid of it, do some work, do whatever we need to do to get it out of our body, it stays there. And the next one goes on and on and on. And they can be small things. And something that is traumatizing for me, like somebody calling me a name that just hits me in the wrong way. Like for someone else, it might be like, it's just a name, sticks and stones, but it might get into my body. And I don't know why. Maybe it's from a past life. Maybe I don't know where it came from, but it gets in me. We can't compare like one little thing that, oh, that's nothing. It's nothing for you, but for me, it's a big deal.
Yes.
Um, right. So I think that this time that we're coming into is allowing us the opportunity to kind of hold space for other people and feel, like, to hear, oh, I hear what you're saying. Oh, I feel it. Oh, yes. Okay. So we can be more compassionate. I do a lot of work with girls, and I've heard young girls say, oh, sorry, I know I need to grow, and young men too. This is everybody. Like, I need to grow a thicker skin. I need to, like, the world's a tough place. It's harsh. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We could be nice.
I like what you just said because I'm actually launched on my new rebranding my business. I'm playing with a merchandise line, and the first T-shirt I designed using Printify says it doesn't cost anything to be nice,
Mm, right?
right?
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah,
Nothing. It costs nothing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Now,
true.
you and I both have a big background in teaching and in entrepreneurship and running our businesses. You've won awards for Cathy's Creepy Crawlers. What went into that? Because it's not everybody, not every business gets recognized for being cutting edge, different, unique. And you were doing something very unique, which is having worms right in your kitchen, composting your foods and materials. So do you want to just share what went into that award and yeah, what was it like getting that acknowledgement?
Yeah, so I don't know how many awards I've won. I'm not sure how many I've won, and the reason and it's not the hardware itself that is the excitement. I mean, it is, and the presentation is nice. The accolades are really great. For me, it's the awareness. I realized that people were not, if especially with the worm business, if people were traumatized as children by worms in a schoolyard or something happened, they're not looking to that as a solution. So I needed to get exposure for my business. So I realized that by winning awards, getting even nominated, you get exposure. Winning is an extra layer where you get covered in the media. You can send out press releases. So it was part of my marketing strategy to get nominated. So I would ask people to nominate me, right? People don't always know. Like, they might see that there's a contest, but they might not think to nominate you unless you ask them that you would like that. And then people are happy to do it. If you're doing good work, you have no problem finding people that will help you get acknowledged for the work you're doing. And it's beautiful. We need to, as business people, we need to be able to honk our own horn. Is that what they
Yes.
say?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. To your, just yeah,
Right, to say I am the best. Yes, come to me. We need to be able to stand in our power and say, yes, pick me. Otherwise, get a job, because it's about selling yourself. Everything's about selling. And if you have trouble selling, there's courses for that too, and David has one.
exact. Thank you. Shameless. And I do. What was it like? How did you feel after and after receiving the awards, the accolades? What did it? Yeah, did it inspire you to do even better? Like, what was the
It really does build you up, and it really helped me realize that I am on the right track. People are recognizing that this is a valuable work that I'm doing. It for me, one of my love languages is words of acknowledgement. So, yeah, receiving accolades is important for me. I feel like of all the love languages, that, although gifts, I guess, is pretty shallow too.
yeah, but if you
I
want to,
shouldn't say that. Like, they're all love languages.
yeah, you can send us a nice care package.
It feels like, oh, just words are going to help you, but they really do. And for anyone that listening, that words of acknowledgement are your thing, where you like people to say, you're doing a good job, keep it up. I worked in a law firm. I was a legal secretary, and I had the best boss every day. He worked with his dad, and then he was, when his dad passed, it was him. And he said, my dad always taught me that at the end of the day, because every single day he would say, thank you for a great day's work. Every single day. And in the morning, you might even say, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah,
Like, he was such a great example of how to be a boss,
yeah,
like just
gratitude.
acknowledging, grateful for the work that I was doing, realized that he wasn't very computer savvy, computer literate, and he was so grateful for the work that I was doing. And that helped me to work harder. I just wanted to do better.
Yeah,
I don't know how I could do better, because I was doing the best I could, but I just wanted to keep on doing that great effort because I knew he appreciated it.
yeah, it's so important. Um, and then the other thing too, you mentioned at the top that you've got this gift of getting on podcasts. Like you said, what, 200?
200 so far.
So what's the secret for somebody listening thinking, oh, I want to be on this podcast or another one. What's your secret to that?
So you want to consistency. I apply just about every day for podcasts. No, every day. I apply every day. I spend a certain amount of time every morning applying for podcasts. So it's a numbers thing, right? I don't get yeses for every single one. When you're applying for a podcast, make sure that you're applying for the podcast that's got your message. I mean, don't just apply to be on a podcast.
Yes.
Apply that's going to relate, so
Yeah.
that the host can go, oh my gosh, this is exactly what my audience needs to hear. And it's, podcasts are not about sales. Although I said everything's selling, your podcast is not about selling. It's not about saying, oh, it's $17.95 for my product, and here's how you get it, and buy two and get a
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
discount. Right? It's about educating. And I think that everything we do ought to be about educating when
Yeah.
we're in business.
Yeah.
Because then, inspiring, right? So we can educate people like, here's what I'm doing. Maybe this can help your life. Maybe not, but maybe you know somebody that it could help their life, so consistency, being consistent, having your message, having a template. I do have a template that here's the message that I'm going to share, and I'll edit my template based on the podcasts that I'm applying for. So work is required. I've got an Excel spreadsheet that has all of the podcasts that I've applied for, the name, the date, where I found them, because I'm on several directories. So that I know, then when I get booked, then I change the color on my thing, so I know, okay, they've answered. Or if they say, thank you for applying, we're not interested at this time, that's another color. So it's kind of color coded. Just looking right at it, I can say, okay, oh, not right. So maybe I can follow up with some, or yeah, I think if you want to speak on podcasts, just get your message down, become a confident speaker, do your power posing, right? Because you're the podcast host needs to know that you sound good, your voice is good, that you don't say too many ums, although I just did. Right, that you have a good message, that you're able to have a conversation, not just blah 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 blah, but you can go back and forth, and
Yes.
being flexible. I mean, we're both improv trained, so
Yes.
I would suggest taking an improv course, so then you can be
Yeah.
ready.
Or Toastmasters,
Or Toastmasters,
like our
beautiful.
mutual friend Shashir Lakhani, who's a master at it and speaks regularly, even into his 70s now. Yeah, I remember when I hosted the radio show, which was, I sold advertising for that, and it was a nice money maker. But I'd get people wanting to be guests because they just wanted to promote their business. And I went, like, give me something more. Why does my audience need to hear from you? If you
Yeah,
want,
be a sponsor then.
yeah, if you want a shameless self-promotion, buy some airtime. That's how I make my living at this. And I work, and believe me, it was tough
Yeah.
sledding sometimes to get that show going. So
Mm.
yeah, so make sure you have a story that's compelling, make sure it's relevant, make sure you position yourself as an expert, because you ever notice, like on TV, they always go to the same people because they're experts, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Well, now our expert on car repair, let's go to, Joe Schmo, who happens to be on other, media and podcasts too. And he's positioned himself as an expert.
Well, that's it. When you're seen, when you're visible, when you're in media and on podcasts, and people hear you and see your name, and there you are again, and oh, there they are speaking again, you become the perceived expert.
Right. And
Perception is reality.
know the media is a bit lazy or time crunched. And so if you make their job easy, you're in. You're in. And also thank the podcast host after with a letter or a nice email, or even a thank you card if you could.
Absolutely. Yes,
Mm.
that's something that people don't realize. And then promote your episode. I think that there's so many pieces to this. Once you're on the podcast, make sure that you promote it, that you share the link. Um, thank them for sure. Stay in touch. If you know any guests that might be, any people that might make a good guest on their podcasts, or if you see an article or something that might be relevant to them, just say, hey, just thinking of you, because it's staying in contact. It may land you another podcast episode.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they may refer you to another podcast thinking, oh yeah, they made a great guest. Try, here's another podcast that you may enjoy
Yeah.
being on.
Yeah. So we've kind of gone a bit over. I think we're pretty complete, but I'm so excited that you did say yes to this podcast, but in a different way as a host. And for those that follow us on YouTube, and we're going to be more on Acast and some other podcast sites, I'm really super happy to have Cathy Nesbitt be an associate host and contributor, and we're also birthday twins, you and I. So we share the same birthday, and I guess for the past 3 years we've gone on birthday walks.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So we meet on our birthday, which is, I won't say, it's a colder month in the fall, and we meet on our birthdays, and we go for walks and connect. And we've been lucky because it is usually a colder month, but I think like the past 3 years it's been like unseasonably warm. I think 1 year we wore our shorts, or I did.
Yeah, that's right.
on a walk in that month, and it's like, and then the next week, you look outside, it's like, oh crap, we got 4 inches of snow. What the hell? Where did that come from? It was summer last week, and now it's winter. But that's I guess the beauty, of living in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled to be associate host. I'm so glad that you asked me. Thank you, David.
I am too. Now, for those that are listening today, they want to connect with you about laughter yoga or Cathy's creepy crawlers and composting, and you're also into sprouting as well. So where do we get a hold of you? What's the best sort of handle?
For laughter, it's cathysclub.com, and I would suggest going there because we need laughter more than ever.
Yes, and you do a free event every Tuesday morning at 9:30 for a half hour.
Yes, I do, on Zoom. Yeah. 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Okay, so Cathy's Laughter Club?
cathysclub.com is the easiest way.
Okay, all right, cathysclub.com, and tap in. What a joy. I'm so excited about what we're going to do this fall and moving forward, and to inspire people to have the confidence that they too can make a difference and an impact, even if it's just a small thing that they're doing. Like, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's like an orchestra. Let's say you just play the little the little triangle and you tap it once, but then there's the violinist and the piano player, and you go, oh, they got really good gigs. I'm just a little person with a triangle. But at the end of the day, when it all comes together, it's magic, right? So,
right.
Yeah. Thank you for this, and thank you for those that are following us. Let other people know. Definitely share it out and like and subscribe to our YouTube page and channel, and just have a great day. We're going to be back next week. We have another good guest that we're interviewing next Monday, actually, a week today, Cathy, and that's Cindy. Oh man, why am I forgetting her name? Hang on, I gotta go. I'm all of a sudden I'm having a brain lapse.
Cindy Lou Who is going to be on the show next week, everybody.
Lou Who, and we're going to be Wahoo Foray. Oh man, Cindy Ashton.
Oh, I knew that. Oh, why didn't I fill in the gap? You don't know.
Cindy Ashton, followed by Cindy Lou Who, and we'll be inviting the Grinch and everybody. We'll have a Christmas in August sale, you know? Yeah. All right. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you, David. You.
Yep. All right. Until next week, have a great weekend. And again, this is a show about leadership, change. People have the courage to make an impact and share their voice. It's 26 minutes with plus the deeper dive, and it's been a joy being here with you today.